Scamming has become the fastest way for an influencer to burn their empire, and no one proves this better than Logan Paul. While he first seemed to be the funny kid who did some crazy things in his vlogs, he turned out to be one of the biggest scammers YouTube has ever known. Everyone has probably seen by now that his prime drink turned out to be poison in a bottle, and this isn't even Logan's worst scam yet. Whenever he sees a way to cash in, he grabs it no matter the cost, even if it's laughing over a dead body. Or stealing money from his fans. Logan never learns from his mistakes. From the forest incident to hooking up with his brother's girl, to the CryptoZoo scam, teaming up with former rivals, Dillon Danis dragging his fiancé into the mud, and even Janko walking away from his own podcast. Every time you think he's bounced back, another scandal drags him down. What was meant to be his lasting business legacy slowly turned into another controversy that keeps haunting his career.
Product says 18 plus on the label. It's also marketed 18 plus on every single social media we post.
But the craziest part is that he never stops and just starts pitching his next project like it's a masterpiece.
September 1st, CryptoZoo.co. I'm gonna tease it. That's all I'm gonna say about it now.
By now, Logan has built his entire empire on controversy. The pattern is clear. Logan talks big, cashes in, and leaves some broke fans behind. But Logan still doesn't seem to see that himself.
Defending myself with facts, something that you have gotten in the habit of twisting as you continue to morph from an investigator to a gossip channel.
But this ain't even all his scams. Whenever he gets exposed, he makes a dramatic apology, promises change, and then pops up with something bigger to distract everyone.
Lapse in my judgment, and I don't expect to be forgiven. I'm simply here to apologize.
Logan's downfall wasn't an accident, but to understand how he went from an internet sensation to one of YouTube's biggest scammers, we need to rewind the story. Early rise. Logan grew up in Ohio, a loud, restless kid with a camera in his hand. He and his younger brother, Jake, started filming wild stunts and pranks, trying to outdo each other. For them, it wasn't about making good videos. It was about pushing limits and getting attention. And that attention soon turned into their golden ticket. When Vine came along, Logan had found the perfect stage. His 6-second skits blew up fast. He was goofy, over the top, and reckless, running into stores, yelling in public, doing outrageous stuff that normal people wouldn't even think of. The kind of content that makes you laugh once, then cringe when you see it again. That formula worked. Logan became one of Vine's biggest stars. Millions of followers, brand deals, TV appearances. He even got cast in mainstream shows. But the truth was, he wasn't famous for talent, he was famous for being outrageous. His entire brand was shock value and he leaned into it harder every day. When Vine shut down, YouTube became his new home. He hit it with daily vlogs, millions of views every single day. His grind was insane, but so was his need to one-up himself. From lassoing strangers in the street to pulling reckless stunts in public, the videos kept getting louder, crazier, and flat-out offensive. Parents started asking the obvious question, how was this even okay for kids to watch? But then things got even weirder. Logan began chasing attention with bizarre stunts, running through the streets of Italy half naked, tasering dead rats on camera, and being outright disrespectful during his trip to Japan.
I think there's someone hanging right there.
It was in December 2017 in Japan's Aokigahara forest that Logan Paul posted what would become the most famous video in YouTube history. He and his crew traveled to Japan's Aokigahara forest, a place known worldwide as the Suicide Forest. Instead of treating the location with respect, Logan turned it into clickbait content. I think we all saw the video, but what stood out wasn't just the shock of the scene. It was the way Logan laughed, joked, and zoomed in on the body. The reaction was instant and brutal. News outlets around the world ran headlines about a YouTuber mocking death for views. Clips of him laughing spread across Twitter, and people couldn't believe that someone with such a huge platform thought this was acceptable. On YouTube, the comment sections were filled with rage. One guy said, "It's not even just basic etiquette for the Japanese culture, but basic etiquette for human beings. I just can't believe that he could just waltz in there like he owns the effing place." And it goes on. I don't know who's worse, Logan Paul or his diehard fan base that thinks laughing at a dead body and showing disrespect is perfectly fine, since the person doing it is their idol, Logan Paul. The scandal wasn't just viral, it became the symbol of online fame's dangers, and the consequences were heavy. YouTube removed him from its preferred ad program, pretty much cutting off a massive chunk of his revenue. Brands pulled sponsorships, calling him toxic. For weeks, he was the internet's villain, with memes, late-night comedy shows, and even celebrities tearing him apart. That was how Logan Paul went from YouTube's golden boy to the most hated man on the platform. And of course, what did Logan do next? He filmed himself. The So Sorry video. Yeah, that one. Tears, promises, the whole script. But to fans, it felt more like Logan Paul playing a role than actually changing. He donated to suicide prevention charities, did interviews about mental health, and positioned himself as someone trying to understand the consequences of his actions. On the surface, it looked like he was making real changes, but many people didn't buy it. To them, it felt less like growth and more like survival. Logan wasn't reflecting, he was rebranding. His tearful video became its own meme, with people editing in clips of his past stunts next to his apology to show the contrast. And while the outrage eventually faded, the memory of that video never really disappeared. Anytime Logan tried to claim growth or maturity, critics were quick to bring it back up. Screenshots, clips, and comments from 2017 still followed him, no matter how far he tried to run. Of course, Logan needed something bigger than vlogs to rebuild his name, so he finally tried reinventing himself by shifting into boxing and WWE. In 2018, fellow YouTuber KSI called him out, sparking what would be seen as the start of YouTuber boxing.
Nice try.
Their fight was streamed by millions, with fans filling arenas and paying for the pay-per-view. For Logan, it was redemption, not through an apology, but through spectacle. The first fight ended in a draw, but the real winner was Logan's career. He wasn't just a disgraced vlogger anymore. He was now a fighter, a showman, someone who could sell tickets. And we know that when money plays a role, Logan is all in. Suddenly, mainstream media wasn't talking about Suicide Forest. They were talking about YouTubers changing the fight game. The rematch against KSI in 2019 brought in even more attention, but this time Logan lost by split decision. Still, the defeat didn't hurt him. Just standing in that ring in front of millions proved he was still relevant. It wasn't about boxing, it was about turning controversy into money. And for a while, it worked. In 2021, Logan Paul stepped into the ring with Floyd Mayweather. They hyped the fight as legacy versus spectacle. Sure, it was just an exhibition, but Logan went the distance. All 8 rounds with Floyd. Headlines praised his toughness, while haters couldn't believe a YouTuber just cashed millions, basically for not getting knocked out. The fight reportedly sold over 1 million pay-per-views and earned Logan a payday in the tens of millions. For someone who had been canceled, this was a stunning comeback. But again, the message was clear. Logan wasn't here because he earned it. He was here because he's famous. The show mattered more than the sport. With the same momentum, Logan pivoted again, this time into WWE. He signed with the company in 2022, making appearances at WrestleMania and other marquee events. Despite the mixed reaction, WWE leaned into him as a star. Logan Paul was suddenly on the biggest wrestling stage in the world, selling himself as both an athlete and an entertainer. For him, it was another reinvention, another chance to bury the past under bright lights and big paychecks. But then he made another mistake. He started messing with John Cena.
John Cena said it himself. Logan Paul does WWE better than any professional wrestler.
He faced one of his most crushing public blows in the boxing ring. It happened during WrestleMania season, when the spotlight was at its brightest and every move was magnified by millions. Logan expected this stage to cement his place alongside the greats. Instead, he was met with a cold, brutal reality. John Cena, the face of WWE for nearly 20 years, didn't just beat Logan. He turned him into the joke of the night. Cena used every moment to make him look small, brushing off Logan's insults and mocking his act until the crowd was laughing at him. For anyone who follows wrestling, it was clear what was happening. Logan wasn't being built up as a future star. He was being put in his place. WWE has always protected its legends, and in that ring, Cena made sure Logan would never be seen on their level. Boxing and WWE gave Logan relevance again, but it never erased the distrust. But even after that, his WWE journey is still at stake. Inside the locker room, respect is harder to earn. Logan isn't viewed like wrestlers who had spent years grinding in small venues. He had been handed the spotlight because of fame, not dedication. Meanwhile, as his controversies piled up, WWE faces a dilemma. They could keep pushing him as a star, but the backlash risks staining their brand. Each new scandal chipped away at the goodwill he built in the ring. Fans were running out of patience, and honestly, so was the company. Everyone was getting tired of the act. The cracks in his WWE career became more visible every time he showed up. The boos grew louder, the chants harsher, and the headlines less flattering. So Logan needed a new way to gain some extra attention, and that's when he got the idea of the CryptoZoo. But if you thought the WWE boos were bad, they were nothing compared to the outrage that this new project brought. When investors finally took action against Logan for scamming them, his name was in the headlines of the media again. And like most of the time, not for good reasons.
At the genesis of CryptoZoo. Now, to break it down into a nutshell, CryptoZoo was supposed to be a play-to-earn crypto game where you buy a coin called Zoo, which you use to purchase an
Logan had described it as a revolutionary play-to-earn game where people could buy NFT eggs, hatch rare animals, and earn money in the process. It sounded like the perfect mix of crypto hype and Logan's influence.
To build value in your project, right? I think there needs to be a fresh take, and this project that I have is that fresh take. September 1st, CryptoZoo.co. I'm gonna tease it. That's all I'm gonna say about it now.
Investors poured in. Fans trusted his name, believing he wouldn't do them wrong after promising he had learned from past mistakes. Some people spent thousands of dollars, convinced this would be their chance at financial freedom. Logan made some fake promises like he always does, and all his fans fell for it. But the project quickly collapsed. The game never worked as advertised. The NFTs were worthless. The promised features were never delivered, and investors were left holding digital junk. People started accusing Logan of running a rug pull, abandoning the project once the money came in. Screenshots of angry fans flooded Twitter. I have never seen anybody take more L's in a 6-year period than Logan Paul. Bro, dude literally can't stop. The Forest incident, his brother's girl, CryptoZoo scam, doing biz with his rival, Dillon Danis exposing his fiancé, Janko leaving his pod, etc. Crazy. At first, Logan stayed quiet. Then, when the backlash grew louder, he shifted blame to his developers, claiming they had sabotaged the project. But his explanation came late and didn't really feel complete.
You might think, how can I lose? Which is why when people were told all you had to do to play was buy an egg, people spent millions. Just on the first launch between ETH and Zoo, people bought $2.5 million worth of eggs in the first day.
The scandal exploded when CoffeeZilla released a series of videos exposing CryptoZoo. His deep dive showed all the broken promises and how Logan refused to take responsibility. The videos went viral, racking up millions of views, and Logan Paul became the biggest scammer on YouTube again.
A fun game that earns you money. How much did you guys make from CryptoZoo?
I lost around $50,000 in CryptoZoo.
I lost $40,000.
I lost around $15,000 US.
I lost $25,000.
$120,000.
$500,000 Australian, which is $500,000 in CryptoZoo.
Shut up! No, you haven't.
Yeah, 500K.
Oh.
The internet went insane. Memes comparing him to every failed crypto project spread online. TikToks mocked his passive income pitch. The people on YouTube weren't having it as well. What's crazy is that these influencers are always allowed to scam people out of millions of dollars and never be held accountable. Logan tried to fight back, threatening to sue CoffeeZilla before backing down and apologizing.
I apologized. My initial response to his series was that of fire, an ego flare, whatever it is, pride. I'm a fighter at heart, and I was defensive because I know I never scammed anyone with this project. I never made any money, never sold any tokens, and I only had the best intentions going in. But the fact is that suing CoffeeZilla is not going to help CryptoZoo holders, so I do need to focus my attention where it should be, which is...
But by then, it was game over. CoffeeZilla had shown everyone what Logan Paul was really up to. By this time, even fans who had shrugged off the Japan scandal or cheered him in the boxing ring finally got their wake-up call. This wasn't about reckless behavior anymore. People lost real money, and betrayal like that doesn't fade away. Looking back, it all connected. The mystery boxes, the gambling-style apps, the half-baked products. Fans weren't joining exciting projects. They were fueling his lifestyle of private jets, luxury homes, and designer watches. By then, the apologies carried no weight. People realized Logan knew exactly what he was doing. But let's not forget that Logan has found himself in scandals outside of his businesses too. Because one of the biggest shockwaves came when rumors spread that he hooked up with a girl Jake had dated. Technically, she was Jake's ex, but the internet didn't care. It blew up like he crossed the line with his own brother's girl. It was messy. It dragged his family name into the circus. And for fans, this wasn't just about drama over a girl. It hit different because Logan and Jake have been fighting for a long time, and this felt like pouring gasoline on a fire that was already burning. He also made the bizarre choice of teaming up with one of his own rivals. For years, Logan built his image on clashing with opponents. But when money was involved, he didn't hesitate to cut deals with people he once trashed publicly. To fans, it looked like yet another example of Logan sacrificing anything for a bit of money. But the chaos didn't stop there, because Dillon Danis made sure of that when he turned Logan's own fiancé into a weapon during their feud. Private photos, messy claims, and online attacks left Logan looking exposed in a way he couldn't joke off or spin into content. It was a different kind of hit, one that cut into his personal relationships and left lasting damage on how people saw him. And right when it seemed like things couldn't get worse, Janko, one of his closest friends and a key part of his podcast, decided to walk away. To viewers, that wasn't just a quiet exit. It looked like someone who had been close enough to see the real Logan finally had enough. And almost immediately, Logan was hit with an even bigger storm: Prime. Suddenly, headlines were questioning its safety, parents were furious, and schools were banning it outright.
Drink company, Prime Hydration, and the fact that it's in a complete free fall right now. Their revenue from 2023 to 2024 dropped by 92%. 92%!
When Logan Paul launched Prime with KSI in 2022, it was sold as more than just a sports drink. It was a cultural moment, backed by two of the biggest influencers on the planet. Stores couldn't keep it on the shelves. Kids were lining up outside supermarkets, and prices on the resale market were hitting absurd numbers. But behind the hype, the cracks began to show. Prime was supposed to be the clean, healthy drink everyone could trust. Instead, it turned into a full-blown controversy. And of course, Logan Paul's name was all over it again.
It's like swallowing perfume. What is that? What is that?
Gordon Ramsay and Paul Ainsworth on from Next Level Chef. It's a big craze at the moment, the sports drink Prime, which was launched by the YouTubers Logan Paul and KSI.
Yes. Okay.
Everyone's
It's a
talking about it.
hydration drink.
Oh, really?
It is sold out everywhere.
That was 20 quid for that one bottle.
For that?
Just that, yeah.
20 quid.
It's meant to be 2 quid.
20 quid?
We want you to give it a go.
We want you to give it
See
a
what you
review.
think.
Prime. Okay, so... Ooh, smells a bit high.
The biggest storm hit when reports began circulating about Prime's ingredients. Parents and health officials raised alarms over the drink's caffeine levels, with Prime Energy containing nearly double the amount of caffeine found in a Red Bull. Logan's main fan base is literally kids and teens, so pushing a drink loaded with this much caffeine? Well, at this point, we know Logan does anything for a bit of fame and money, and everyone began to see it. Schools across the US, UK, and Australia banned the drink right away because of concerns for student safety.
Kids about energy drinks. Maybe you've seen Prime Energy on social media.
Yeah, Brandy Smith explains why the drink is getting so much negative attention. Schools are actually banning it.
Clips of teachers snatching Prime in class blew up, making all this drama even bigger. Investigations uncovered mistakes in Prime's labeling and questions about its supposed health benefits. Videos spread across TikTok showing nutritionists breaking down the ingredient list, calling it nothing more than sugary water in a fancy bottle. Lawsuits began stacking up, with consumers starting to call it out as false advertising. That shiny, fitness-first image Prime once bragged about? Completely cracked. Now it was all suspicion, and Logan was right in the middle of the chaos.
Just overarching ideas to what has caused such a tremendous fall off has to do with how this was founded. This was built on hype.
Public trust took a bigger hit when the FDA and other consumer watchdogs began stepping in. Parents called out Logan Paul directly on social media, accusing him of exploiting his young audience for profit without thinking of their health. Moms calling out Prime went viral, the complete opposite of Logan's over-the-top hype ads. Comment sections under his posts became filled with anger, disbelief, and calls for accountability. Screenshots of these reactions spread like wildfire, each one chipping away at his credibility. Instead of showing the world he was a serious entrepreneur, Prime made people ask the same old question. Is Logan Paul really learning from his mistakes or just finding new ways to cash in? Logan's empire started crumbling in ways that couldn't be ignored. Prime, his biggest business success, was suddenly under investigation in multiple countries over health concerns and misleading marketing. But Logan's life got even worse, because the CryptoZoo scam refused to disappear as well. Lawsuits kept piling up, dragging Logan into courtrooms instead of boardrooms.
To tell you that that's only half of it, that they have the potential, due to the ongoing lawsuits that they're dealing with right now, to end up paying out something like $50 to $80 million.
Investors were losing their patience, and the evidence against him only grew stronger, and Logan started to feel the hate towards him everywhere. Even the WWE stage, which once seemed like his safe space, turned hostile. Fans started to humiliate him and screamed "scammer" during his matches. Boxing wasn't the escape either. Pay-per-view numbers dropped, and what used to be global events started feeling forced. Social media mocked his hype videos, turning every announcement into a meme before the fight even happened. Sponsors started pulling out, partners walked away, and audiences turned cold. Looking back, the pattern was always there. Logan Paul didn't accidentally fall into controversy. He chased it and profited from it. We already saw this during the Japan scandal. Even then, he was given a second chance, and he used it to prove what everyone had already suspected. The reformed Logan Paul was never really growth, just brand protection. Each apology was a performance, a way to gain some extra views and money. Logan Paul didn't just fall, he dug his own grave, scandal by scandal, until there was no way back out. Now, if you don't want to miss any other influencer scandals, make sure to subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.